Hey, what's going on, DDO players? Axel here. So in this video today, we're going to talk about the new race that's coming to DDO in the next update, which is Shifter. There's going to be a Shifter base race and a Shifter iconic in addition. So in this video, we're going to go through, I'm going to show you the cosmetic stuff, so what they look like here in character creation. I'm going to show you the different animations because there's some unique animations with them. And then we're going to go on Lamania here, and I'm going to go through each of the enhancement trees for both the base shifter and the iconic shifter, and just show you a little bit of the differences between them and some of the different abilities that the two different races bring. So first thing, disclaimer, this is all Lamania. They are not on the live servers yet, so the stuff I'm showing you now could change. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the shifter and just what they are in D&D lore. So shifters are basically, if you want to think about them, they're a mix between humans and lycanthropes. So they're very wolf-like in their appearance. They're very primal focused, and they have basically what you're going to see in DDO is they're focused on, particularly the iconic is focused on using their claws and fighting with their hands, and the iconic itself is focused on using hand wraps to fight unarmed with their claws. So you'll see that in game. Also, they have some unique looks about them. So as you can see, here on the character screen, it seemed like a lot of the different shifters I saw so far on Lamania, it seemed like for the most part they don't wear shoes. So cosmetically you can see that here, and you can see that you're going to see that with other armor you might wear. They don't wear shoes. They have different hand looks. You can see the claws here are very pronounced in their hands. So this is what they look like as far as looks. I'll just randomize some looks here. I can't see, they appear to have a human body shape. The looks, as you can see, you can see like the little fangs here, which seems to be a pronounced thing. There's also different looks and tattoos you can give them. For the base shifter, it's called marking, and the iconic one as of right now is called just tattoo. So I don't really know the difference, but cosmetically the two seem to be pretty similar. But here's some different looks. So there should be some different ways for you to make your shifter look cool. And I guess with that out of the way, let's now show you what the female variant looks like. Okay, here's what the female variant of the base shifter looks like. So not too much different, but still some pretty cool looks here. You can actually put facial hair on the females. That's one thing I noticed. So very cool. Okay, let's jump over now and I'll show you what the iconic looks like. Okay, so here is what the iconic looks like. I haven't been able to notice too many differences, really any differences between the iconic or the base shifter, but if there is something I'm missing, you all let me know. The only difference I've noticed is here it looks like they're the same, but for the iconic here, it's called tattoo, whereas for the base, it's called a marking, which is kind of a special little painted, kind of a tribal look you can add to your character. Okay, and here's what the female looks like, the female version of the iconic. So again, no major differences that I've noticed from the base. Okay, now let's move on to talking about some of the animations and the enhancement trees. So first thing I noticed is that they seem to have and this is the base shifter, seem to have a unique falling animation. You see that? Now I could be wrong here, someone let me know, but I don't think this exists in game, unless it does for like a class I don't play, like rogue or monk or something, then I think this is unique. Also, as you can see here, like I mentioned before, you can see the claws and the lack of shoes here. Also, this falling animation does not exist for the iconics as of right now. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's intended as a differentiation between the two races, but it's something I'm noticing. Okay, next, there's a unique attack animation for the iconic, but not for the base. So if you can see, they would attack just the same as, say, another race. I don't know again if that's just something they haven't gotten to fixing yet, because this is in preview, or if it's intended that only iconic get that animation. I actually think it's the latter, because in the description they specifically talk about that with the iconic. But anyways, Let's move on to the enhancement trees. Okay, so the big difference between the iconic and the base shifter is basically two things. The base shifter gets an ability which functions very similarly to rage, and there are two different forms of it, and you get to pick which one you want. One is called Wild Hunt, which gives +4 wisdom, +4 dexterity, -2 strength, and +2 morale bonus to will saves when you use it. There's also different enhancements throughout the tree, as you'll see as we go through it, that give further bonuses to this. But again, this works like a rage ability, so you are fatigued after you use it, and you only have a certain number of uses for it. Okay, next, the other version which you can select from is called Beast Hide. Beast Hide gives a +4 bonus to AC and Constitution, but a -2 to Wisdom, and a +2 morale bonus to fort saves. And like the other one, you of course can continue to enhance this as you go through the tree. So this rage ability is only something the base shifter gets. The iconic shifter instead gets some bonuses to unarmed fighting with hand wraps, as we'll see in a little bit, because again, the iconic is focused on using its claws in combat. Okay, now let's go quickly through the enhancement tree here and talk about each one. So their enhancement tree is largely focused, as I mentioned, on increasing your rage ability that you can pick. Okay, so the base here are the cores. We have extra shifting, which is extra rages per rest. We get constitution bonuses, more extra rages, more constitution, and then the peak, the last core here is lets you regenerate your rages. Okay, they also get brute fighting, which we've seen in a lot of other races in DDO, so it generates more hate with your attacks. So if you want to be a tank, that can be a good thing. Okay, next they get bonuses to spot, listen, and intimidate. They get bonuses here on the first tier to their shifting ability. So take all three tiers. Your shifting and barbarian rages last 75% longer. You get constitution bonuses while shifting here in the first tier with hardy shifting. Moving up to the next tier, shifted defense is a multi-toggle, so you can pick depending on your form. So if you have Wild Hunt, you get spot and dodge bonuses. If you pick Beast Hide, you get bonuses to PRR basically while using your rage ability. So a lot of stuff that's focused on using your rage ability. Okay, next is Howl, which is a pretty cool ability that gives your character, if you have Beast Hide, MRR and PRR bonuses to your allies around you, and with Wild Hunt you get basically looks like bonuses to saving throws. And Howl, I'll show you the animation in a second. It looks really, really cool. Okay, next, extra howling, so bonuses to your howl ability that we just talked about. Magic Fang, which looks like it functions similarly to like the Artificer enchant weapons buff, so you get an enhancement bonus to target's weapons. So that's pretty cool. You can buff allies here. Okay, Empowered by Nature is another multi-selector. You can get bonuses to healing amp with Beast Hide, and if you take Wild Hunt, you get spell point bonuses. Okay, Augment Summoning, if you want increase the power for pets and summons, that option's there. Stronger Howl, another addition to your Howl ability. So it looks like with Beast Hide, you get extra nearby enemies have attack penalties, and let's see, with Wild Hunt, enemies get saving throw penalties. Sorry, brain died there. Okay, next is favorite enemies. So they do get favorite enemies, sort of similar to like what a ranger gets, for example. So that's pretty cool. You can pick a favorite enemy and do extra damage and stuff to them. Okay, let's see, threatening shift, another bonus that's focused on either Wild Hunt or Beast Hide. So with Wild Hunt, you get lesser displacement while raging and plus bonuses to your dodge cap. Beast Hide, you get extra threat generation and some hit point bonuses. Okay, True Hunter, you get freedom of movement, save bonuses, and bonuses to spot and immunity to petrification. That's pretty cool. Okay, Howl of Terror is another buff here. So, actually, I'm sorry, it's a debuff to enemies that basically, yeah, it looks like it can do paralyzing, which could be very good depending on how good this is, which is going to be a really good, if it's effective. I don't know what the DC is here, but if it's effective, it looks like it can be a very good crowd control option. Okay, so that's it, and now let me show you some of the animations. Okay, so here are the animations. So first of all, I'll start out with Howl, which is really awesome. Oh my gosh, this guy, move. All right, so let's start out with Howl. Howl is really, really cool. So if you listen, if you have your, I don't know if you have your audio turned up, but if you do, you should listen. So isn't that really cool? I think that's pretty awesome. That, again, that's the buff that to nearby allies. So pretty cool. Howl of Terror, nothing special there. Just looks like a standard, like you're casting a standard damage over time spell or something. Magic Fang, similar, just looks like a spell cast, so nothing special there. So really the only special one that looks unique is Howl, which does look pretty cool and sounds pretty cool. Okay, now let's look at the iconic, so the Razor Claw Shifter. So the Razor Claw Shifter, a couple things right off the bat. They don't have that falling animation that the regular shifter does. I'm not sure if that's intended or not, but they do have, that the other shifter does not get, is this cool attack animation. So you can see here they're basically messing this dummy up here with their claws. So that's pretty cool. And again, that's the focus of this iconic, fighting with their hands and using hand wraps. So that's pretty neat. Okay, let's talk about their trees, and then I'm going to show you some of their animations, which they have one really neat animation, which I'll show you here in a minute. Okay, so the Shifter iconic, which is a barbarian, by the way, if I didn't mention that before, they have some really cool abilities here in their tree that I mentioned before, but also the main difference between this iconic and the base is that the base gets to choose their type of rage, whereas the iconic doesn't get that. What the iconic gets instead is bonuses to fighting with their hands, which you'd expect. That's the focus of this particular iconic. Okay, one minor thing I need to clarify here. So the iconic does not get their choice of either Wild Hunt or Beast Tide when it comes to a rage type, but they do get an iconic rage called Razor Claw Shifter, which is just, it's not a multi-selector, it's just one rage that you get with this iconic. So let's go through the enhancements real quick here. They get extra rage uses, Constitution, extra rage uses, Constitution, and regenerating rage. So I think they're the same here as the base, and most of the tree is the same with some differences. Okay, next is Hone Claws. They get an attack bonus with hand wraps. Okay, Hunt and Trap, so Spot, Listen, and Intimidate bonuses. Extended Shifting, similar to the base race here. They get bonuses, so take all 3 peers. Your rages last 75% longer. This is bonuses to Constitution while shifting or raging with Hardy Shifting. Okay, up to Tier 2. They get Piercing DR Bypass when using hand wraps and raging. So that's pretty specific. While raging with hand wraps, you bypass piercing, but in any case, it's pretty cool. So they get natural armor bonuses here. Next, they get Howl, also the same animation, very similar to what the base iconic does. Okay, next they get additional Howl uses. They also get Magic Fang like the base does. So it's an enchant, basically works like enchant weapons, so it appears. They get Pounce, which has a really neat animation I'll show you here in a minute, but which is it's an active attack that does +6 weapon damage to targets near you when you land. So it attacks multiple targets, and it has quite a range on it, which we'll see in a minute. And you also get +1 critical threat range multiplier with this attack. Okay, they get Augment Summoning. So if you're into doing summons or pets, you get that there. Kind of makes sense with the kind of primal theme of the race. Stronger Howl, so it does a better debuff to enemies when you use your Howl ability. Favorite enemy, just like, and this is a multi-selector. I have animal selected, but it's a multi-selector. So they get favorite enemy, sort of like Ranger does. So you do extra damage to a certain set of monsters that you get to choose. Destructive Shifting, so while under your iconic rage, you gain improved destruction and trip enemies for 2 seconds on a Vorpal hit. Your iconic rage now uncenters you. Okay, so that's pretty neat. Bonuses to rage. Okay, next, True Hunter, they get freedom of movement, +2 versus saves versus enchantments and illusions, immunity to petrification, and +10 to spot. and then they get Howl of Terror. So this is also the same thing the base gets, it appears. So they get a basically a paralyzer ability here, which seems like it could be pretty cool. Depending on how good it is, it could be really cool. Okay, now I'm going to show you the animation. So let's start with Razor Claw Shifter. So that is the basically passive rage ability. Nothing special here. It looks exactly like Barbarian Rage, it appears. Okay, next Howl, which is the same as the base shifter. But what I really want to show you is Pounce. So Pounce looks really cool. So here's Pounce. It's a long range attack. So look at this. Isn't that neat? That's really cool. So it's like a multi enemy attack, and you just kind of jump through the air like that. It's really neat. Next is Howl of Terror, which I actually can't show you, but I believe it is, because I don't spell points in this character right now, but I believe it is the same as the base race. Okay guys, that's it for this video. Please let me know what you think about this race, and please, if there's anything I messed up, I don't think I did, but I went through this pretty quickly today on Lamania, so if there's any mistakes I made, please comment below, and I'll try to correct myself in a pin if I did miss anything. But yeah guys, let me know what you think about this race. I think it looks pretty cool. So guys, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Have a good one, and take care.